Hello everyone, hope you're doing well. Today we are back on the Drone Age dev server, and it's time to have a look at some kind of bits and bobs which have been going around. Stuff which isn't really designed for one vehicle in itself, but I think is at least kind of interesting. The first one is the penetration analysis. So we've talked about this in the dev blog, which they talked about, but it is actually super cool the way that it looks. So basically the way that the penetration analysis works, you can actually see the entry point and then also the secondary entry points as well. It kind of gives you an idea of how it's penetrating through these different areas and going in. It looks completely different on different rounds as well, which is really nice. So you can kind of see how it's burst through each of the components and pushed on. And this is pretty interesting because it doesn't just work for ground vehicles. They've also expanded it to everything else. So if you want to know the penetration on something like this with I don't know, a slightly bigger round, so we can kind of have a look at it. You can see here where it's going to like enter the vehicle and take it on with the Heffy of the ZSU 37-2, and if it's going to get stuck on the vehicle or if it's actually going to do damage. And it's just really cool to see the little mark and then where it goes through the vehicle. What this may also be very useful on is it actually works on ships as well. So this isn't just a ground thing, this is an everything thing. So if you want to know if I don't know, you're using your Wyoming or whatever and you want to penetrate the Alaska. If you penetrate here, what's going to happen? Well, it's going to go straight through, hit the ammo elevator, and then go straight through once again. You can see the big line there as it gets stuck on the ammo elevator, meaning that if you want to shoot this thing with the Wyoming, you can penetrate it, you can make it go boom, and it actually shows you what happens after it goes boom. So there's all of these really interesting little intricate things where it shows you the different layers that it goes through, it shows you the different areas that it has to push through and what damage it will do afterwards and how much penetration it's kind of losing while going through these things, So I think that's just a really cool system. More information is power for the individual, which is very useful. The next one is, of course, drones. Now, I'm going to do an individual video on this. I just kind of want to show this off quickly because, unfortunately, custom battles aren't working right now, so I don't know if I'm going to be able to record something for it or not. So, light tanks of rank 6 and 7 now have a Scout UAV modification. This can be pretty much anywhere when it comes to the vehicle, and what it means is it gets a very similar mechanic to the high-tier machines of naval which have access to hydroplanes, meaning that you can flip and switch between the drone and also the vehicle itself. Another thing to also note is they've visually changed a lot of vehicles when they get hit. So you can see here the massive plume cloud that it's created. They also changed how ammo racks look, and also what happens when vehicles get ammo racked. You kind of have like a secondary explosion, and you can see the sprocket wheels and all of the standard wheels kind of come off the vehicles as well. This is really cool. You can actually interact with these things, so you can kind of push them around. They're physical on the battlefield itself, and I think that's a really nice little touch. So if you blow this guy up, or at least try to blow him up, let's try again, obviously using the heat. You can see the general round where it went through. What's kind of interesting on the round is if it goes through and does a lot of damage, then sometimes it will spark fire back out of it if you blow something up on the inside. So not just after you've exploded it. You can see here the vehicle is just absolutely kaputted. Nothing really came off of it because it just blew up. But if we go up to this vehicle and let's just say do this, you can see that the whole thing just exploded. And there's one of the sprocket wheels, and that also disappeared. Flipping heck, and it actually leaves a divot in the ground if you really properly ammo rack it, which is super cool. So you can see now this thing's actually stuck in the divot that we created from the other one blowing up. So yeah, it looks fantastic, and obviously with different machines and different ammo racks with the RNG-ness, you saw like the flame coming out of that one. So you have different, basically the visual can change on when you blow stuff up, and it just looks really nice in general. And you just have more pieces which are moving around. You can see like the sprocket wheel here, so you can kind of push it around and also push everything else around. So it's just it's a lovely little thing that they've added, like with it. Like the explosions look so much nicer, and if you like cause a fire in a vehicle and the round kind of goes through, you can actually see the fire outside the hole. Like it kind of it doesn't vacuum itself out, which is kind of interesting to see. So if we can set off this fuel tank without blowing up the ammo here. Oh, never mind. Didn't feel like blowing up. I get it. But there you go. You can see like the little flame coming out and the little like setup coming out. So that shows that, you know, that fuel tank kind of went pop, and the fuel kind of came out of it. But then obviously where the ammo is, the thing goes pop anyway. So yeah, you can get some fantastic ammo racks with this, which is really, really cool. And even the log and stuff like that. Look at this beautiful stuff. You can see the log came off, the turret came off, a bunch of the wheels came off. Here's one. So you can just kind of kick it around, which is nice. And then obviously you have the drone. So the drone is just a quick switch, just like in naval. So you fly it around and then you can hit U, you can go back to your vehicle. You can see the drone there, and it's just going to fly around by itself. I don't know what it's trying to do, but it's trying to kill itself. And this thing flies really wonkily right now. I feel like it's going to fly better as time goes on. Their flying wing flight models have always been a bit dodgy, and this one's pretty rough. But it doesn't go very fast, but you can scout things with it. So you'll be able to scout targets, and also, you know, you have like the target point and everything, weirdly enough. So you can kind of leave the target on an area like this, and then you can kind of move around and it will track it for you, so you don't have to worry about it too much. So you can see it's tracking the whole time as we're moving about. And yeah, it's just it's a little bit of a fun little toy, really. This is just the recon ones. This one will be able to scout. It doesn't go very fast and it spawns very low, so I don't think it's going to be that great in general. Or if people don't pay attention to it, it's going to do really well. But if people even get a whiff of it, it will fall apart. There was also some naval BR changes. This is something which should be mentioned. So naval as a game mode is going up to 7.0. So stuff like the Alaska is coming in, and it's going to be at 7.0. That means that a lot of other vehicles are going to 7.0, stuff like the Congo, the Haruna, the EVGA, the Hood as well, the Marlborough, the Kronstadt, and the Parisia Communa. The Bayern Scharnhorst as well are going up, and some other vehicles are moving in BR because of the decompression of moving up to 8.0. So there's a little bit of BR decompression with naval, which is quite nice. They've also added another background, so the loading screen filter, and it doesn't have its proper name yet, but it's a 2A6 background. You can see that it's actually fighting what looks like a T90, but what is kind of interesting about this picture here is that's a T90, right? But this is a ZTZ tank. This is a Chinese tank, which is over here. So I don't know where this is being fought, but the Chinese and the Soviets are on the same side in this area, wherever it is, and they're fighting a 2A6. So it's a really nice, it's a really, really nice loading screen. It doesn't look like you have to unlock it or anything, so it's not like the F-14 one that you had to unlock, this one. Instead, you just get it for free, unless they're going to add a challenge to it. We're going to have to see going forward. The next thing is weapon jettisoning. So on the dev stream, they showed weapon jettisoning, so you can get rid of your weapons without having to use them. This means that stuff like guided munitions, like bombs, you'll be able to drop without having to target something, which is going to be very useful if you get engaged in a dogfight. That is not available on the dev server. It is only available for the devs at this moment, but I'm sure it will be going forward. All of the drones are sat in the files, so in the files video we'll have a look at them. Unfortunately, as I said, the custom battle stuff isn't working right now, so it's kind of hard to get good pictures or good stuff of them. And then we have some pretty interesting additions as well. So for 2 nations, we have new crew models. So the first one is Japan. For Japan, they're getting some modernized crew. And when we do the In the Files video, I'll show you the overall look of them, because they look really nice. But you can actually see them in game if you're on the dev server. You can see there in the car itself, he's got a kind of wonderful bright green jacket on and a helmet. So no more World War II Japanese soldiers in the Type 93 running around like a madman. So that's that's a bit of a change when it comes to the vehicle itself. So yeah, kind of interesting, and nice to see that they've added that. The other thing to note is another nation is also getting some revamped crew members, and that is actually Sweden. Sweden is getting access to modern crew members as well. So they're going to have some pretty cool hard hats on, and as I said, I'll give you a better look at them when we do the In the Files video. But just to give you a bit of a look, you can see the lad here on the ATGM. He's got a hard hat on, he's got a wonderful jacket on, and he's got the more green stuff which is going around, which is quite nice. So the modern Swedish vehicles will not have to deal with World War II uniforms. This is really cool. I'm glad that they're doing this, and it's the little things when it comes to War Thunder which make it fantastic. So you can see here, penning with the ATGM, we did a decent amount of damage, but not enough to kill it. It created a bit of a fire, the explosion that we talked about, and then this one should make it pop, and you can see the beautiful explosion that it created, even though we didn't ammo rack the vehicle. If you ammo rack it, it just goes pop like a weasel. The last thing is the BM13, the Katusha. Now the Katusha is a vehicle which has been in War Thunder for a very long time. It's a fun little machine, nothing too crazy. It's just a general rocket launcher. You know, not very good is probably the way to put it. It's never going to be meta defining, but it was lovely when it was added, and hopefully it comes back again. They've actually added something to the Katusha. They've added some camos to it, so now it gets the standard camos, like the ones that you can grind out, and also the GE ones, which is something that it didn't really have before. So it joins the rest of the vehicles in the game of having these standardized camouflages, which you can either unlock or pay for GE, which is really nice. As always, I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you next time. I'd just like to thank Nicholas Richardson, Elove Goat, Pyman675, Winter Scientist, Merciless Reaper, Jerry Prevolt, Megadino King, Orange Tail, Teddy, John Ryman, Universe, Ambrosius McClellan, Daniel Stanton, Moxie, B. Young, Uncle Bean, Sem Arslan, Derek R., Bareen, Lafouche, and Samuel Slick for supporting the channel.